Hi and good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is VlogsBoutNothin. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your Sunday to join me. I really appreciate it. Wouldn't you know, I almost forgot what I was saying. That's no joke. Only I am a joke. This is the only joke. I do, in fact, again, really appreciate y'all. You feel me? It's Sunday night. What more could you possibly ask for? Another 4 videos from that weird guy that can barely dress himself. And I just would never argue with that. I barely can dress myself. I have very little room in my room to move around in my room. So, just because it's like real compact, there's really just room for this guy. And any ladies, anybody, any ladies, just I feel like joking tonight, but I always feel like joking, so there must be more to life than jokes, Albert. It's what I tell myself. And then remind myself of how the world is, and then I am like, no, I'm good. I'm gonna keep joking, But regardless, tonight I want to talk about something that is definitely a huge joke, and that is mobile games. So, for a long time, I think old people have been really just easy to sell things to as it concerns fancy electronics. I'm sure that the millennials, Zers, and Alpha will all encounter a time far into the future where they find that the newest technology is, in fact, like the dopest thing on the block. And in fact, to use that best technology, we're gonna make online casinos, AA battery operated, little blackjack games. We'll talk about that more in just a minute. And all of these things, right? It's just different perspective, different take on tech. We're using it to play video games. The old people are using it to do what old people do. And that's basically nothing, and lots of gambling and some questionable behavior. And, I don't know. We're not old yet. We're not that old yet. Just friendly reminder, I'm not even 37 yet. I will be 37 in October. So there's always that, oh my goodness, almost 40 years old. It's been a real experience. It's been a real experience so far. I want to, thank my parents for allowing me the opportunity to experience this experience. But no, so let's keep talking about how mobile game apps are like literally just the quintessential definition of what it is to be an uncool Xer or boomer. You feel me? In that, like, as a millennial who has boomer or Xer parents, in that regard, I feel like they get easily distracted, I mean, they find the most use out of sites like Facebook, and that's what it should happen. It went from young people that were cool using it to people that were older than them talking about those young people that were using it, and then finally now just old people who talk only to other old people about other old people things and what they're doing in their old people lives and stuff. And as it concerns their younger people, you feel me, that only join in on the website every year to say thanks for everyone telling them happy birthday. I just so all right, I think that mobile game apps. So I dated a really old woman recently, like greater than 25 years my age. You feel me? And she was obsessed. She was still obsessed with games like Candy Crush. This is no joke. I mean, this is not the iteration of the 10-year video from 10 years ago. The video from 10 years ago that involved that really, like, that woman and her, addiction to Candy Crush and stuff, which is some real stuff. I mean, that woman was crushing candy on an iPhone 5. You feel me? So I don't know, but just regardless, I feel like mobile games are what they are. And when I was in that most recent relationship, half the reason I could tell she didn't like me was because most of her time was spent on these really, really weird like, I can't even, old people get suckered in on these mobile game apps and like get ultimately scammed and fished and all these other things, I'm sure, because of their habits. I mean, like, they'll play an in-house game app that's from this, a verifiable place where they've downloaded it, and then they've downloaded that app, and then that app, will take them somewhere else off the website, and then now all of a sudden everybody's getting an email saying they've won $1,000 gift cards from Home Depot. When in fact, none of that is true. It's all a scam, and it just makes the experience for the consumer on the end that much more intolerable, I'd argue. Mobile games, again, are just an excuse to do nothing while you're doing something, I suppose. And to say that I've never played mobile games would be false, right? Like, I mean, I cannot remember the name of the first game that was on the Sidekick 2. And the sidekick, you were like a little ball and you bounced around, sort of like Super Mario World, minus all of the really cool characters and storylines and just real basic, everyone's a bouncy ball, same landscape kind of a game. And so, I mean, also, who isn't my age and didn't own a Nokia in the late 90s and played Snake? You know, I mean, back when Snake was like a real thing to play. Back when Snake was so, under and so embedded with just that first culture of having it that there was no other people or places to talk about Snake or any of those things. So those have evolved in my life. You feel me? I've seen these things evolve in my life, and now we have the more kind of like online casinos that involve real money, and sports gambling is legal, and AR and VR will be a big part of our future, and those will also be more highly immersive environments in which to partake in these kinds of behaviors without actually ever having to leave your crib. And so the impact is going to be tremendous. I really feel like that. We're just starting to see the beginning of it. But going back to that just constant need for distraction for old people. I think it's something that I'd study, if I was somebody that studied things and I was professional and had a job and all of the, I mean, in terms of like 30 years ago, my grandma was sitting on the couch playing a handheld casino game, a handheld blackjack game, poker game, slot machine game. But it was one of the old school ones that, were very expensive at the media novelty section in the stores there, and they were like 40, $50. It's like a regular video game. I mean, these things you throw 2 AA batteries in, 2 AAA batteries, fit in your pocket, and you'd be able to play for hours. And that's exactly, what one of my grandmas did, and it wasn't bad. That was the same grandma that also gave me my first handheld Game Boy. She was about the portable handheld games, and I really appreciate that. Rest in peace, Grandma. Thank you for providing me with my first Game Boy. Or the opportunity to play my first Game Boy. She was actually playing video games with me in the early 90s. That woman was a cool person. And she really was. She really was playing Super Mario with me, too. And, like not Super Mario, I mean Mario, like for Nintendo, for NES. She also really she would play the duck hunting game together. And Zelda, she really liked Zelda, the gold cartridge on the NES. These are good memories between my mother's mom and myself. That was that grandma. So, yeah, shout to her for teaching me what I'd inevitably talk about 30 years later in a vlog on YouTube. Ironically enough, on a handheld device, it's just a little bit more advanced, dare I say, as it concerns just, like the picture quality, although one might argue that the same kind of picture quality could be found on VHS tapes from the mid-90s then it could be found here on this particular program. But don't let that fool you, right? We have so many videos on the channel. We're well into this experiment that I've tried to conduct, that I'm in the process of conducting on myself as it concerns just trying to be stable, trying to be reliable, trying to make my life better. If it couldn't get any worse, knock on wood, it always can. So I'm just saying that, like, I want to be better. I want to be a better person. I want to be, an adult, I suppose, in that, like, I have things that I care about around me and stuff. There's all these things that I constantly am trying to do, but I think ultimately the whole purpose of my life is to try to be the best person I can be. You feel me? That's just kind of like my own thing. Just, be good to people. And don't mind the stalkers too much, and take it all with a grain of salt, But I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join me. I really appreciate that. We have 3 more videos on the stream tonight, so I'll see everybody real shortly. Bye.